Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tip for Tip. This is live though. If you're listening on the recap, thank you so much for jumping in. We know most of you guys are going to be doing that. If you're jumping in live, please make sure you leave comments. If you come in afterwards, go ahead and leave comments. We will answer all of those when they come in. Today we're going to be talking about 10 website design trends. And we never put 2020, or we should have put 2020, but those
2020.
Like 2020. But I think it can go and beyond. So anyway. And we also have Jack, so if you hear some clicking, just an FYI, there's another person in here. It's Jack, so we'll refer to him.
Yep.
All right, roll that intro. Hello, we're back.
Hola. Yeah, we're back.
All right, so 10 website design trends. Well, I want to talk very quickly, and let me pull this up so if somebody leaves a comment, we know. Matthew Puckett joined. Hello, Matthew Puckett. Thanks for watching.
He's a groupie.
He is a groupie. Actually, 3 people are live. So if you are watching this video live, please leave a comment. We'll shout you out and also be helpful. But let's talk a little bit before we jump into the trends, why a website is still important. I guess a question that we get sometimes is, why do I need a website when I have a Facebook page or I have an Instagram or I have an email list? Like, there's no reason to have a website if I can tell people about my services, and Facebook's basically become my website. And I don't know, I think you probably explain this the best whenever we're talking to a client, but let's explain to people why you should have a website, and then we can talk about the trends, because I think that's important, but you should know why you should have a website still in 2020 when we're going doing stuff.
Yeah, so I believe that having a website is crucial for any business or even personal brands. And the reason being is social media platforms come and go. Literally, there hasn't been anything new necessarily to dethrone, I would say, Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. TikTok is definitely making waves.
Right.
But you got to think about and protect yourself, protect your brand, protect your business for longevity. Longevity?
Yes,
longevity.
Longevity,
right? So the best way to do this is to build an audience through your website and collecting emails through your website, building an email list that way, instead of relying heavily on social media platforms. Those are great for finding your audience and your niche and keeping in contact with your people. But having a central location where no matter what, if Facebook goes down tomorrow, if Google goes down tomorrow, your website, your presence, your online presence will still be present because you are taking care of your website. You have content on your website. You have blog posts, videos, whatever XYZ may be.
Right. I guess the thing with that is, like, other than your email list, which even then you don't know, but like the website's the only thing that you own and the email list is the only thing that you own. So we're big proponents. This live stream absolutely could have been something about social media, but we want to talk about website. But so what we're saying is we're big fans of social media, but don't put all of your eggs in saying, like, I have 5,000 followers on Facebook. Well, they get hit with a lawsuit and then shut down tomorrow. You just lost your business. So the website could stand the test of time and you own that data. So it helps you. There's a lot of other reasons, but that data is really the biggest reason to keep it, I guess. Mm-hmm. All right. So we have 10 things.
Yeah. And we have some fancy images with them.
Cool. All right. So Jack, you're going to throw fancy images whenever we talk about them? He's shaking his head yes, for those of you who are wondering. Okay, so number 1 we have here is animation and motion effects. And to me, I guess as a person who's not a designer, I'm like, animation, that just means like those funny drawings. You know, whenever you've seen people are like, oh, this is Bill, and it's like drawing a picture of Bill and Bill walking down the street. That to me is like an animation. And emotion. Yeah. Bill walking down the street and he's having a great day. And then motion effects, I think more of like a movie or something like that. So I don't know. I guess maybe we can explain a little bit more about like what that means for the website. So what are the animation and motion effects? So that's number 1.
Right. So actually this morning, we had our local marketing academy, which is a monthly workshop that we do, teaching business owners on trends and social media marketing. And one of the things that I always try to implement with my presentations is motion and animation. So my presentations have, text, maybe a little bit of text, sometimes images, sometimes GIFs, And now recently, stickers, right? So, and you see these stickers on Instagram stories all the time where it's more of a cutout of a GIF. And I've been using that on my presentations, and that it translates exactly to website, right? The only reason why I use them on my presentations is to, one, catch people's attention with the animation. But when it comes to website, I think it has a little bit more function to it. It's definitely a way to interact at a deeper level, right?
Okay.
So if you think about like a motion or an animation, it could be something as simple as clicking a button, right? There's probably a lot of websites that you've been to that you click a button and nothing really happens, right? The thing doesn't even change color.
Right, it just takes you to wherever you want it to go. The
Yeah.
functionality works.
Yeah, but there's nothing that indicates to you that you've successfully clicked that button, right? So that's where it actually all stems from. It's given your customers or people, your audience, the visual cues on things that you're doing on a website and responding to things that you're interacting with on the website. So again, it's just about creating a deeper level of interaction with your content. It gives it a visual impact, a more modern visual impact, I would say.
I think like on the other side of that too is like if somebody stays on there longer, Google likes that too. So like for SEO, it's actually almost better because, hey, they're staying on this website. Whereas if they just click a button, then they get taken to where they need to get taken to. Versus like they're staying on that page longer and then they go to the next thing. So it actually helps with your SEO.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, number 9 we're talking about, and yeah, I'll refer exactly to what you're saying right now.
Very cool. All right, and like I said, guys, since this is live, I see there's 5 people who are live currently. This is like the family hour. You can give a shout out here.
Yeah, Marianji.
Yeah. So if you have questions about that or each design trend, just leave a comment below. Maybe we can explain. We do have some images to kind of give it a better visual. But if you're like looking for something a little bit more in depth, we can talk about that. It's the whole point for the live stream. So, all right, let's move on here to number 2. So photography. We've always advocated for photography to not be stock. Or if you have to use stock, use something like 2020? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more like real life instead of the same stock photos that everybody has used for something, but photos and graphics in combination. So that's the real trend that is happening right now, is using like icons and graphics and things like that along with photography.
Yeah, mix them with your photos. So I think with this, it's we're a long ways away from. For example, having a section on your website where you have text on one side and then a square photo on the other side. I think the trend now is to be a little bit more different than just having a square photo. So let's say, I mean, our brand is probably a bad example, but let's say that your brand is Nike, right? And you have your swoosh. You could use this swoosh as a template, right, for a picture that you want to fit inside of that logo. It just gives it a more interesting look. And I think the example that we had on screen had like a half circle type moon shape. And then the image took shape of that thing, right? So it's also doing those things. So it's not just combining graphics with the photos, but it's also giving the photos a more interesting look than just your typical, square image. So it has to do with, your branding or elements that you have within the website that might make it a little bit more interesting than just having that.
Right. And I guess, yeah, like you said, just matching that branding is really the biggest part there. It's going to draw people in. Just having random shapes on there is not going to have as big of an impact. It's like, oh, here's a bunch of circles. Like, it doesn't really work that way. Just adding graphics like that. If
it's part of your brand, if it makes sense, then yeah, by all means, that should be the route to go.
Cool.
All right. So number 3, we have immersive 3D elements.
Sounds
these
very
are
fancy.
Actually, I haven't seen a lot of this. If you go to awards with 3ws.com, they have like some of the most crazy websites out there. And in there, you might see, some of these 3D elements and things like that. But really, I haven't seen a whole lot. I know.
What is that exactly?
The platform, it's just a 3D object. So let me see your water bottle. So instead of your water bottle, like just being a picture on the website, it will be a 3D object that the customer can interact with and move around and things like that.
Okay, so for us, it could be like a computer with like a website on it, and they could like look at the computer or whatever and see.
Rotate and things like that. And so the platform that we use to build websites is called Webflow, and we do have the ability to do that. And it works with After Effects animations and having a 3D object in After Effects, and you're able basically to do different interactions. So when you click on this water bottle, it will do a flip or something. So it's not just flat images anymore on websites. People are starting to integrate 3D elements. We haven't done it personally, but it's something that definitely anxious to test out. And also, if you're interested in maybe implementing something like this, Envato Elements, they do have a lot of 3D objects on their platform. And Envato Elements is just like a stock place, but they have like fonts, music, graphics, 3D objects, different things like that. But that's the one place that I've seen a lot of 3D objects that you can download. Obviously, you need to have an account and all that. But yeah.
No, and so this may be a trend that we start seeing like later in the year, I guess. It's still kind of newish. All right, number 4, Minimalist with Maxi typography. So I don't know what the Maxi typography is, but I do like the minimalist feel for myself, like really big images, like the text that kind of corresponds with it, the graphics that go with it. Like I find myself like enjoying those kind of websites a lot more versus just like, you know, the older websites. It was just like, all right, here's 2,000 words on this page, and hopefully you can decipher what you need to do here versus like, this is a clean website that like, it kind of tells the story with images versus just words.
Yeah. So just to give you a definition on the Maxi typography, this is bold, in your face, huge typography that normally takes center stage of the website right when you land on it. And it might be typography that's placed maybe kind of weird or in an eclectic manner, but it definitely grabs your attention. So when it comes to that Maxi typography, that's something that more designers are using nowadays. So just kind of more bigger approach, in your face, not your typical, here's your headline, here's your paragraph, and here's your image on this side. It's just taking different interesting approaches with typography. And then going back to the minimalism, I think white space is probably the biggest thing with minimalistic designs, is the ability to be able to use that white space, you know, in a manner that still brings the content and is still user friendly, but at the same time it just spaces out. I mean, when I think of minimalism, I think of big spaces, right? I think of, you know, the content that you need to find, but laid out in a manner that it's just super easy for you to read and digest.
Right, and not the white space where it's like text, white space where you have to scroll forever. And because we've seen that before too, where it's like text, it's black, white space, and then more text, and that's just kind of like probably too much white space, I guess. So too much white space could be a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, what is number 5? All right, number 5 is gradients. So, and I guess it's gradient V2. I don't know exactly what that.
V2.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, I mean, gradients, we've been using them for a while. It's really nothing new per se. I do think that gradients are coming back in the sense of just being more sophisticated with them. And instead of just doing a simple black to blue, you know, gradient, maybe they're inserting more colors in there. They're adding more interesting textures within the gradients. They're overlapping gradients with images, which Spotify did a couple of years ago, actually.
Yeah.
So just just using different things within gradients. So not just giving you a gradient, but using different colors, using different textures. And sometimes even using too much gradient, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's what we're talking about here is overarching, at least halfway through. We're at number 5 is just like using colors and space effectively. Now there's 3D elements and stuff, but like, you know, I could create a gradient and it's like, oh, if it doesn't matter if it's blue and it's orange. It's like how you use that gradient that's going to matter. So that's the important part that I don't know. I don't get that part, but I understand why I understand why it's appealing to me, I guess. All right, moving on to number 6. All right, vintage style and modern web design. So
Have you seen?
I feel like there's a clothing brand that I saw on Instagram that targeted me that did something like this. That it has a cool like 60s 70s kind of vibe, but it's very clean and it has the white space and it has all of that. I feel like there's a barbershop here in town, like the Bristle Beard and Bristle. Like I don't know about their website necessarily if it does that, but their brand feels like that. Like it feels like I'm going like with my grandpa to go get my haircut and my beard trimmed, and it's like it feels old, but like their design and the colors that they use are very dark and brown, but it's like modern feel, like it's super high quality and stuff. So that's the example. And then the clothing brand, like I said, I can't remember the name of it, but that's probably literally 2 occurrences ever.
Yeah. So I don't think I've seen this as much, and I'm online quite a bit, but I do. I mean, I do think like with anything, it's cyclical, right? Like things just
They come back
into style. Yeah. So I think with these trends is also, and if you want to stand out from anyone else, it's looking at what has been done in the past that's not in style anymore, and just try to use it and kind of bring it back and maybe put something else mixed in there. So like we're saying here, it's a old style website, right? So it reminisces of the 50s, 60s, 70s, but you're still using the same new design principles, right? With the white space, with different typography.
Right. So it looks great, but it's got that feel. And I guess it could also be the same ways like you look at trends anyway. So like, something that's coming back-ish. I don't know if it's really going to fully come back. Like MC Hammer pants were like huge 30 years ago, but now that's like coming back again where like people are actually wearing these pants in public. So it's like...
Sure. Did you see I saw this on Twitter yesterday. Apparently some fashion show, I don't know, but they had inflatable pants.
Whoa. So it's like very airy? Like they have like a compressor? Or
they
what?
look like, you're just wearing like huge fat legs.
I feel was that like a trend previously?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I know the big, obviously, because we went from like MC Hammer pants to just baggy pants. I don't know if it was cool in Puerto Rico to wear baggy pants, but like...
I mean, I think so.
Yeah, here it was like if your pants didn't go over your shoes, you were not cool. Like nobody had pants that were like to their ankle or like right to their shoe because that was just not cool. So I think it's also, to this point, like using like trends that are coming back in real life and using that kind of like era back in your design too. Like that could also be... if you're a clothing brand and you're talking about MC Hammer pants, you could bring some of the cool things about the 90s, that vintage look, and make it clean for it. Same thing for like website design trends. I don't know what that would have been like we don't have 100 or 50 years of clothing, or we don't have 50 years of websites as what we do for clothing, but just like old trends, like, what used to be really cool about a website was like, how many people have been to your site? Like everybody wants to know like how many people have been to the site. Like maybe that eventually comes back where you have like a little count, like you can click on there and be like, hey, I'm the 100,000 visitor. And like people just constantly go down there to check your website and they're like, sweet, I was number 100 today or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I think that's actually, we don't have this necessarily in here, but I do believe it's a trend overall. And we talked about this earlier during our coaching session where transparency, it's something that's like hot or whatever right now. And sharing things like from our company, for example, and sharing data like that to the public, it's something that's people are interested in those kind of things. I think that definitely moved the needle, I think, in the right direction for you and your business. If you're being, you don't have to go full transparency, but just a little bit of transparency, I think will go a long ways. And we talked about our podcast episode that we did where we talked about
Pat Flynn, though.
And Pat Flynn does that on his website, but I'm talking about the podcast that we did about what worked this last year, what we're going to implement this year. And it's all about just talking about our company, which is probably one of our most popular episodes. And we're just divulging everything out there, what we're doing, what worked, what didn't work, etc.
Yeah, because people can relate, like, oh, dang, I know not to do that. And they can relate to it even if it's not just an agency. All right, number 7, artistic illustrations. I do see this, not necessarily, I see it on websites, but you see this across social as well. Like it's, I feel like if you're, I don't know where the next ones lie, but like definitely this is one that everybody should be seeing right now. Like almost every day, you should be seeing some kind of artistic illustrations with the content you consume and websites and stuff.
Yeah, I think something that comes to mind is MailChimp. Whenever they did their redesign, they completely changed everything they had, and they added custom illustrations to their website. And to be honest, it looked kind of weird, but now it's just part of their brand. It's part of their identity.
And I like it though. I feel like it was it drew me in more because it was weird because it was like that bird or something, right? Like,
yeah, it was like weird line drawings, and it was some weird stuff, but it was interesting and eye catching. So, and that's all we're talking about. It's like these artistic illustrations. They're usually custom illustrations made for your website and your brand, but there are places out there where you can actually get them for free. And a designer who's active on Twitter a lot, and I follow, and he designs websites on Webflow as well. Pablo Stanley. He has a website called humans with 3 A's. .com. So humans.com with 3 A's in there. It gives you literally different illustrations, and you can mix and match like different heads, different hairs, different shirts, different pants.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, so you can kind of customize it to your brand and your colors, which is kind of cool. And he also has a bunch of other resources out there, so I would definitely check him out. Pablo Stanley. We'll probably leave a comment. Put the link in the comment and then below.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you're following, please let us know what you think of Christian's rap. We're curious about that. All right, number 8, dark mode. This is awesome, and it's something that's so apparent that huge companies are doing things. Google, your iPhone has dark mode, so like. I mean, this has just been a trend for a while, but now it's like...
I mean, to be honest, in web, I don't think it's ever been a thing. I think it's hot right now because of Apple doing their dark mode. I mean, I feel like Google and Samsung and all those, like, they've had dark mode for a while. But now that Apple did dark mode, now it's like a trendy thing. And I can see why. I mean, Apple obviously influences...
everything.
A lot of things. So, and I've seen this on website designs where they actually have a toggle at the very top where you can just toggle the website. You could be on your desktop right now and it has a toggle and you can toggle it, and it literally gives you dark mode on the whole website.
Yeah, and we're talking about dark mode, not the dark web. We don't know anything about the dark web.
No, we don't.
So just to clarify there. But yeah, I prefer dark mode. My Instagram's on dark mode. I don't even know what it looks like on regular mode anymore. Is your Instagram on dark mode?
I turned on dark mode whenever that update came out. And then I don't remember why. There was a reason why I turned it off, and then I've never turned it back on.
Oh gosh, it's like so bright. I mean, so like if you do yours versus my Instagram, like we can't show it here, but like this is nice. I saw Brianna's Instagram or something like that the other day. I was like, oh, this is like hurting my eyes. This is too bright. My Twitter's in dark mode too.
Yeah, my Twitter's always, I like my Twitter in dark mode.
Nice.
But Instagram, I don't know. I can't do it. I don't know
it actually makes the colors pop more.
It does. Yeah, I just saw your pictures and it looks poppier.
Anyway, we could go on to the debate. Are you a dark mode user or a light mode user? You know, this is like the dark side, light side, you know?
I don't know. Is the light side a thing?
No.
Wait, Jack.
Star Wars reference? There's no way it's light side. It's just dark side.
Is it called light side?
Yeah. Lighter side, of course.
Lighter side.
Lighter side. That sounds better.
Yeah. Sounds better.
So, are you more of like a Luke or like an Anakin? We just want to know. Okay. Number 9. Scroll-generated websites.
So speaking of Apple, this is exactly Apple's forte here.
Yeah, their websites are so sexy.
I know. So if you go right now to the iPhone 11 Pro page on the Apple Store and just start scrolling, I mean, think about it. They could, that same content that they have on that page, they could probably have in a more condensed way. But what they have done is they have done this scroll interactions where it's actually almost like a little game that you're scrolling and you don't know what's going to come up next, you know? And they have like all these little animations and different things in there. And this is what we're talking about. Aaron alluded to this earlier, where Google wants you to stay on pages, I mean, longer, right? You want to stay on the websites longer. Apple could have done half, maybe a third of this as far as the information, and be done with it. But they did all this. Like, I mean, Aaron's still scrolling and he's halfway there
Yeah.
on the page. So it just provides a more visually interesting way. Plus, again, it makes people stay longer on that page. This whole time that I've been talking, Aaron still hasn't even reached the bottom of that
No,
page.
I was going to say, I'm still not to the bottom. But what I do know is that I want to buy an iPhone 11 Pro. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of other factors to make it work. So adding this feature will make your website better in the sense to keep people's attention. But the one thing that, is a caveat here is that great imagery and great text to tell that story as they're scrolling through is the important part as well. And if you're just looking for anybody to kind of mimic a website off of, if you're product based and even potentially service based, like absolutely you should copy Apple or get as close as you can. I think 10% of Apple. I normally would say like get 80% of somebody else, but 10% of Apple and you'll be dominating because I'm still scrolling at this point. Okay, yeah. I reached the bottom.
Another thing, like you brought a good point. It's like it's stealing things from bigger companies like Apple, Google, and things like that. Like, and just look at literally smaller things. Like look at the font size that they're using for their paragraphs on that website. Like there's a reason, and there's probably a ton of research that they've done to say that 16-point font for that paragraph with that line spacing, it's the best for reader usability and readability on the website. So just little things like that too are things that you need to pay attention to on these bigger websites.
All right, we have made it to the bottom. Literally, as we scrolled here. Number 10, bending typography rules. So if you've been a rule breaker, this is kind of for you.
Rule breaker.
Rule breaker.
I mean, it's just fun. It's fun to break rules, right? So it's the same thing. When it comes to typography, it's again using those bigger fonts, using font pairings that you might not think that go well together, but they just kind of work on web design. And then also overlap, like not being afraid to overlap some of your text over some of the images, just doing more visually interesting things on your website. And like Aaron saying, like just breaking the rules of the conventional like wisdom or thinking that you need to have a picture here, your heading here, your paragraph here. You can mix it up. There's a lot of new different tools out there. There's something called CSS Grid, which I think last year got introduced into Webflow as a new feature, and it literally allows you to put things on the website. Like it allows you to do insane layouts on websites. And that's exactly what we're talking about. It's these new tools and new technologies that are helping us sort of break the mold of the traditional websites into something new and refreshing.
Awesome. All right. That is the 10 things that we have.
Yeah.
What I would say is we're going to drop a drink. We're going to drop a drink. I would love to get a drink now. Drop a link to Webflow. So a lot of the things that we talked about here would be kind of difficult if you didn't have an idea of where you should go or what is possible. And a platform that makes it a little bit easier or already has the abilities for most of these things or a lot of these things outside of your creative ability is possible with Webflow. So we're going to put a link over there to Webflow. And if you guys have questions about it, go ahead and leave a comment below, or you can message us. We're happy to walk you through. There's a lot of tutorials. They have a really good resource base so you can help build your own website or make changes. But if you want those cool animations, if you want the 3D type effects, all of that is possible inside of Webflow. And it's I think it's just a lot more user-friendly than what people have looked at, and it's a lot easier for you to create a very creative website.
Yeah. That was very creatively put together.
Nice. So yeah, we'll drop a link for Webflow, and thank you guys for watching. Those of you who are watching after the replay, please leave a comment. Let us know you're there because we can't see it now, but we'd love to interact with you and love to answer any questions. And we will do these live streams once a month. Typically, we don't announce it too much in advance just because we want to make sure that it's something that's relevant. We like to do things that are topical. Otherwise, we could just pre-record it. So if you guys
Matthew, this is a live one.
Yeah, this is live. So finally a live video. Quality live tip for tip, gentlemen. Well, thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, man.
And Matthew also sent us an amazing picture of the air-up pants, but I can't find a way to send it over there. But Matthew, we do appreciate you for interacting and sending us the cool pants. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.